This is Amud Yomi Gemara in Shabbos. Daf Pei Dalid Amud Beis. We're only in the bottom of Pei Dalid Amud Aleph. We're middle discussing the halachos of Tuma by Kli Cheres. And we ended off on the bottom of Pei Dalid Amud Aleph with two Mekares, the Mekar of Chizkiah and the Mekar of Tana Dvei Rav Yishmael. And these were two Mekares that said that a Kli Cheres does not have tumas midras. What is the reason? Because there's only going to be tumas midras on something that has tahira in a mikvah. Kli cheres, which does not have tahira in a mikvah, will not have tumas midras. So Masev Rav Eloi. So the bottom of the Amid Rav Eloi comes along on the last line, and he asks, "Mapotz b'meis minayin." Where do we know that a mapotz, a mat that's made out of reed, is mekabel tumah when it touches a mace, even though a mapotz, of course, is not a clay kibble, doesn't have a receptacle, and usually Hilchais Tumah V'Taira 101 is only way something is Mekabel Tumah, it's only if there's a base kibble. So ask the Brisa quoted by Rav Eloi, how do we know that a mapotz, a reed mat, is Yas Mekabel Tumah? Says the Gemara, V'Dinu, it's a Kalva Chaimer. It comes to pachim kitanim, small little jugs, vessels, cups, which don't have tomazav, but they have tomas meis. Mapots, shetami bizav and din sheyitami meis. So says the Gemara, and as much as a mapot doesn't have a base kibble, the reason it's yes mikabel tuma, it's a simple kalva chaymer, because we know that when it comes to pachim kitanim, they yes have tomas meis. And as much as they don't have tumas zav, so mapot is going to be the same thing. So based off of this, ask Rav Eloi v'amai, what's the reason that the mapot has tumas zav? Hold Leslie Tyre bin mikvah. Based on what we just said, that the only way there could be tumas midras is if it could have Tyre bin mikvah. But it asks Rav Eloi, a mapot does not. So very good, you have a kavah chaimer, but the kavah chaimer should have no basis, because the whole basis is coming from the fact that there's Tumas Midras, but there should be no Tumas Midras on a mapos. Why? Because there's no Taira b'mikvah. Amar Rav Chanina, so Rav Chanina responds, Shiny Hasam. No, the case of the mapos is different. Why? Hoil v'ika b'minoi. Because there are other utensils that are similar to it. A utensil, shell eats, that are made out of wood, that yes, have tahira b'mikvah. And therefore, this entire kli, in its entire category, its entire sug kelim, is not excluded from tumas midras. And therefore, that's the reason the mapot will yes have tumah, and by extension, have tumas mis. However, on the other hand, in our case, when it comes to tumas, when it comes to kli cheres, they're all completely excluded from the category of Taira b'mikvah, and therefore there'll be no Tomas Midras. Amar Lei, Rav Eloi says Rav Chanina, Rachmana litzan me'daita. Rav Eloi says Rav Chanina, no way, Hashem should save you from that which you said. Why? Because who cares that the general category of Kalim have Tahira b'mikvah? The mapot should be viewed unto itself, and the mapot does not. So if the reed mat does not, who cares that an 8th piece of wood does, or an 8th mat does? It's a different item. Says the Gemara, Atarabam, Rachman letzan medaita didach. Hashem should say from your understanding. Because who says that you go into a specific item? You should go by the broad category. So we have this fight going on between Rav Eloi and Rav Chanina in a general sense, to review something by it itself or review by its larger kelim. So says the Gemara of a Taimamai, where does Rav Chanina come from? Ask the Gemara, what's the reason that we go by the larger category if the whole vart is it has Tomas Midrash like a Zav? So go to the item itself. Why is Rav Chanina allowing us to zoom out and view the entire sug, the entire category of Kelim? Says the Gemara, you know why? Trey Karoi Ksivi. Rav Chanina understands that there are two psukim when it comes to Tomas Midras of a Zav. Ksiv, the pasuk says, a man who will touch Yiga b'mishkava, his couch. From this pasuk, the couch is explained and defined as an item belonging to Zav, and therefore it implies that what? That the couch is only going to be Mekabel Tomas Midras if it itself, because it's viewed itself in equation to its Toma. Uksiv, on the other hand, there's another pasuk. And the other pasuk says what? Kol hamishkav ashayishkav alav azav yitma. Any couch that the Zav will come upon, will lie upon, will sit upon, Yitma will be Tameh. This pasuk does not explain that the couch is belonging to the Zav. It sounds that the couch cannot go into the mikvah, even if it still will have Tama. So we have a bit of a stira. These psukim are not clear. On one hand, it has to be the Zav's, the other hand, it does not. So based upon these two psukim comes along Rav Chanina, and he explains, Ha what's going on over here? Explains Rav Chanina, Yesh b'mino yafal gav de lesli tayar b'mikvah. The pasuk that does not compare the couch to the Zav. The second pasuk that says, Kol hamishkav, any couch, applies to where there are other items within that larger category. So too, that's when it's not going to have tayar b'mikvah. So Rav Chanina from these psukim learn that from the fact that it says kol mishkava in the general sense, and then on the other hand it says b'mishkavoi, his mishkav, his couch. Therefore, we have to view these two things, and that's where Rav Chanina creates this idea that we can view it by the larger category. Says the Gemara, and that's how the Gemara leaves the shita of Rav Chanina. Concluding this, a sugya comes along Rava. Rava says, I'll give you another raya that kli cheres are not mekabel tomas midras. Rava Amar midras kli cheres tahar mehacha. The midras of a kli cheres is tahar from the following pasuk. Uchol kli pasuach asher in samid pasil alav. Says the pasuk, any kli pasuach, any open vessel that has no samid pasel, no cover that is attached, that is connected to it, and the pasuk ends off yitma is tame. What does this imply? Hayesh samid pasel alav, that if there is going to be a cover connected to it, then it will be tar. So says the Gemara, explains Rava, Milo Yaskina dechadinu leishtai nida. It's possibly not referring with that a kli that one designated as a chair for his wife when she is in nida, and that she sat upon when she's in nida. That's what the pasuk is referring to. And yet, what does the pasuk say? In as much as it's designated, his wife sat upon it while she is tamei, the kamerach manatar. And says the Torah, based on these psukim, explains Rava, that it's tar because there's going to be a break, a barrier, something separating between the tuma and the inside of the vessel. So says the Gemara, oh, that's one pasuk. On the other hand, the chair of the nida, well, yes, be tamei. So how does Rava explain? How could it be that by sitting on something it blocks the tuma from going inside the kli? Says Rava, must be that when it comes to kli cheres, there's no tomas midras. That's the reason why when the nida sits upon it, it will not go inside. A third source, we began on the bottom of Amud Beis yesterday, or we concluded, I should say, yesterday, with the Makar of Chizkiah, the Makar of Tanit Ishmael, and now we have the Makar of Rava. We move on to a new Mishnah on the bottom of Eidalim and Beis. Says the Mishnah, a little bit of another halacha in Hilchais Kalayim. Kalayim, in the general sense, similar to Shanis, is putting two items that it should not be mixing them together. Kalayim, in many senses, here we're going to be referring to the planting of kalayim, planting of different items in one area, causing a mixed breed of those items. Says the Mishnah, Minayin la'aruga. How do I know if I have a patch, a garden, shishish al shisha tfachim, which is 6 by 6 tfachim, shezarim b'teicha chamisha zaroinim. Once an area is 6 tfachim by 6 tfachim, not so large. A tefach is about 6 inches, 36 inches, about 3 feet by 3 feet. You could plant 5 different minim, and it won't be considered kalayim. How? Arba al arba 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 al arba rucha is haruga. 4 on the 4 sides. And Rashi over here, you see, paints a bit of a picture for us. Ve'echad be'emsa, and 1, the 5th min in the middle. And there's going to be enough distance between all the items that it's not considered kalayim. Where do we know this from? Says the Mishma Shenemar, says the Pasuk, Ki Karetz Toiti Simcha Chagana Ziru Eho Titzmiach. Says the Pasuk, the earth gives forth its vegetation, and the garden causes that which you plant to grow. Zar'ah. It doesn't say its seed. Ella Ziru Eho, but rather its seeds. From this Pasuk explains the Mishnah, we have a makar. You can plant many minim, one next to each other. How we see from here that there will be 5 different minim. The Gemara will explain in Mir Tashem. We'll pick it up from here.